Now, I'm going to talk about the potential ban on greyhound racing in Tasmania, but first I just want to say thank you to everyone who's contacted me this week. I talked about the dogs and racing when I was hosting Paul Murray Live on Sunday and Monday, and the response I've had, the text messages, the emails, the stuff on social media, and from around the world too, not just here in Australia, it's been wonderful. I'm glad that I've been able to succinctly wrap up how so many of you feel about this great sport that is racing, in spite of the activists who want to shut us down. And I promise you that I am only just warming up. There's plenty more where that came from. But back to Tasmania, yesterday we were meant to have a decision on whether or not greyhound racing would be banned in Tasmania. You'd know, if you're a regular viewer of this program, what's been going on. Tasmania went to an early election in July last year after a successful no-confidence motion against Jeremy Rockliff's Liberal government. But afterwards, the makeup of the parliament was basically the same. The Liberals, Labor and Greens all came out with the same number of seats as they had before the election. So Mr Rockliff had to shore up the bench to hang on to minority government. We'll just cross from that briefly to take live pictures of Ben Roberts-Smith, who is now leaving Silver Water Jail. I'm not entirely sure what we are looking at there. He's just walked out, I'm being told, from the jail, so we should be seeing him leave prison shortly, or we'll see a car leave prison shortly, and he will be off now to go back home and await a further trial at some point. If we have any more pictures, I will bring them to you. But going back to what I was talking about. So Mr Rockliff had to shore up the crossbench to hang on to minority government. So in August, he announced that he would ban greyhound racing. It was a clear ploy to gain the support of the Greens, and it worked. Labor backed in greyhound racing, and so a Liberal-Greens alliance was formed. Yes, a Liberal-Greens alliance, I know. Now, this was Mr Rockliff on August 10 last year.
It's clear that we need to draw a line in the sand when it comes to the greyhound racing industry in Tasmania. For many years now, and increasingly so, there's been concerns around animal welfare, and we're seeing an industry that is at the crossroads, in decline, and does not meet community expectations anymore.
Now, he mentions there animal welfare. I'll come back to that point in a minute. Fast forward to December and a bill to ban the sport passes the lower house. Then it goes up to the upper house and they vote to delay a decision because they need more detail and send it off to a parliamentary committee. Then you come to this week, mid-April, 4 months on from the delay in December. So surely plenty of time for the government to give the upper house all the detail it needs. Debate on the bill started on Wednesday. And then on Thursday morning, they all rocked up to Parliament and discover that the government has pulled the bill and will instead delay a vote until next month. Members of the upper house only found out when they saw it had been removed from the sitting schedule. No one even bothered to ring them up and tell them what was going on. Mr Rockliff and the government are spinning it as the upper house needs more time to consider things, so we've pulled it for their benefit. Well, they've had 4 bloody months to consider it. If they still don't know what's going on, it's no one's fault but yours, Mr Rockliff. Maybe he'll blame it on those of us on the mainland.
This is the most obvious play in the world. It's about the Labor Party undermining the confidence of our minister, trying to stop the greyhound ban in Tasmania. Cashed up, mainland, greyhound, thugs, they know the game is up and they're protecting their interests in mainland Australia. And I'll tell you what, we'll get this ban done.
That was last month, and yes, I am still proudly a cashed-up mainland greyhound thug. Though you say you'll get this ban done, you seem to be struggling a bit with that. What really happened was that they needed 4 independents to back the ban for it to pass, and that was looking unlikely. So rather than copping the result, they've pulled it at the last minute so they can spend another month schmoozing and trying to convince the crossbench to back it. It is, frankly, pathetic. You had 4 months to get them over the line, and either you didn't try hard enough or you just straight out failed. This is incompetence writ large. And what about the poor people who work in greyhound racing, who want some certainty about their livelihoods, which you have turned into a political football? You're going to make them wait another month to find out whether or not you're going to kill their jobs and their sport because you're no good at your own job. This was Mr Rockliff in Question Time yesterday after the bill was yanked.
I recognise the challenge that the Legislative Council has in respect to their deliberations as well, which is why it's important that they are given the time to consider and ensure that... Well, you could laugh if you like, but we care about animal welfare, mate. We care about animal welfare.
Order!
You care about keeping
And it's time. It is time. The Labor Party knows it.
We care about animal welfare, mate. We care about animal welfare. Well, mate, please explain these trifling little issues. If you care about animal welfare and animal welfare is the reason you want to ban greyhound racing, why did your racing minister, Jane Howlett, write this in the Mercury 16 months ago, just 8 months before you announced a ban? Ms Howlett wrote, quote, "We want to work with the racing community to make it even better, and we're committed to supporting a strong future for greyhound, harness and thoroughbred racing in our state. As Racing Minister, I will not be banning greyhound racing or any other code in the racing industry." I mean, that couldn't be any more unequivocal. A strong future for greyhound racing. I will not be banning greyhound racing. 8 months later, different story. Did you care about animal welfare then, Mr Rockcliffe? I mean, if you care about animal welfare and animal welfare is the reason you want to ban greyhound racing, why did you write to the North West Greyhound Racing Club 2 days before the election giving your support to greyhound racing? You wrote, quote, "I know that the racing community and more broadly the Tasmanian community want a racing industry that is fair, humane and sustainable across all 3 codes, including greyhound racing. The government is committed to support the longevity and sustainability of the racing industry, which, as you know, generates close to $208 million in economic activity for Tasmania and which involves more than 6,400 people. The government also remains committed to providing funding support for a training solution on the North West Coast once we have received additional funding advice from Tas Racing and other stakeholders." 2 days before the election, you were committed to helping out greyhound trainers on the North West Coast. Did you care about animal welfare then, Mr Rockcliffe? If you care about animal welfare and animal welfare is the reason that you want to ban greyhound racing, why do you own racehorses? You own shares in both a harness racing horse and a thoroughbred racing horse. Are you suggesting that greyhound racing is the only form of racing that has animal welfare issues? Why not ban trots racing? Because you care about animal welfare. And why are you targeting the only form of racing in which you don't have a financial interest? If you care about animal welfare and animal welfare is the reason you want to ban greyhound racing, why are you proposing that it be phased out and not finish up until June 2029? I mean, surely if you believe that these dogs are in danger or they're being abused or exploited or whatever, you'd want it banned tomorrow. Why would you allow another 3 years of bad welfare for animals? If you care about animal welfare and animal welfare is the reason you want to ban greyhound racing, why didn't you just take it to the election in July? That would have been a perfect time to promote your animal welfare cred and give the people of Tasmania a say on greyhound racing. But of course, you were giving your support to greyhound racing just days before the election, so I guess that was out of the question. I suppose you just developed an interest in animal welfare somewhere between July 19 and August 10 last year after failing to form a majority government and needing support in a parliament that looked basically the same as the one that just passed a no confidence motion against you. Now, I would have liked to ask the Premier these questions myself, but unfortunately he refused to be interviewed tonight, as did the Racing Minister, Jane Howlett. Her people told my people that she wouldn't be available in any capacity for an interview. I offered to pre-record it at a time that suited her. Not possible, we were told. So I asked yesterday for a statement on why the Racing Minister was not available in any capacity for an interview, given major developments in one of the most significant issues in her portfolio, and whether or not she thought it was appropriate to conduct interviews on one of the most consequential bills in her portfolio. And I was told by a press secretary that she was in Parliament, and instead I was sent a statement from the Premier. I said, "No problem, I'm happy to wait until Friday afternoon for a statement from Ms Howlett when she's no longer in Parliament." They sent nothing. But I did think this line in the statement I was given from the Premier was quite amusing. If the Winter Willie opposition supported the ban, it would be done today. The only reason there is not a ban is Labor. So what he's saying is that because the opposition opposes a government proposal, it's not getting over the line. Well, duh, opposition is an operative word, you know, and it's not Labor's fault there's not a ban, it's your fault because you can't convince the crossbench of its merits, probably because there are none. But it is pathetic and a cop-out that the racing minister won't front up for an interview a day after what would have been a decision on one of the most consequential things in her portfolio was delayed. Why won't you come talk to me, Ms Howlett? You're the racing minister. This is big news in your portfolio. Aren't you up to it? Now, despite their failure to talk to me today, the door is still open to Mr Rockliff and Ms Howlett. I obviously have questions that I'd like to ask, and I think my audience would like to hear you state your piece. And I'll keep asking you both every week for the next month until the vote comes back up again to come and have that chat. But the reality is, it's not about animal welfare, it's about politics. And pulling the vote because you knew it was going to fail, frankly shows that you're not very good at it. As I was saying before the break, the Rockliff Liberal government in Tasmania has delayed debate on its controversial greyhound racing ban after realising it lacks the votes needed to pass the bill. Debate started on Wednesday. The vote was meant to happen yesterday, but upper house members only found out that the government had pulled the bill when they rocked up to work and saw it had been taken off the agenda for the day. One of those Tasmanian upper house MPs is independent Beck Thomas. Beck, thank you for joining me. You must have been quite surprised when you rocked up to work yesterday morning, expecting that you would be voting on whether or not greyhound racing would be banned in Tasmania, and the government said, no, you won't be, because clearly we don't have the support.
Absolutely, it was a surprise, Caleb, an absolute shock to myself and to my other fellow members in the chamber when we rocked up, and it was just by omission on our notice paper for the day that we discovered we weren't debating what we were all prepared to go in there to debate that day. It was the looks across the chamber were nothing like nothing I've ever seen.
I mean, this is weak as water from the government, isn't it? If they've had 4 months since the upper house voted to delay a vote back in December, I mean, they wanted it done then. They've had 4 months to come and talk to you and all the other crossbenchers to try and convince you of their argument. They failed to do that, and now they want another month to try and do the job.
Absolutely, that's right. And it's been, 9 months since they announced this policy decision, and we should be making policy decisions, we should be making law based on proof and based on process, not political power plays. And that's what we're seeing here. This clearly isn't about animal welfare, as you well summed up earlier. That back in December, they put this to us in the last sitting week before Christmas, expressing that there was a sense of urgency that we must pass this in that last sitting week before Christmas because there was a sense of urgency around animal welfare. Yet here we are, a few months on, and now they're delaying it even further simply because, or we can only assume, because they feel like they probably don't have the numbers to get it through, and they're worried about losing power in the lower house if they don't get it through. So it's simply not good enough. There are people's lives affected by this decision significantly. They've been sitting on a knife's edge since August last year when the government made this decision to backflip on its commitment that it had given just 2 weeks prior to the election, that it would back in the greyhound community. People in that community voted Liberal because they were assured they had their support. This is just disgusting by this government. It's another kick in the guts for people in that community, and it's not good enough.
Well, it's treacherous, and delaying a result or at least some certainty on what their futures are going to look like by another month is cruel. I mean, I've been told today that at least one participant in the industry had to leave a track last night and is dealing with mental health issues because, you know, they just don't know what is going to happen. Does the government not care about that?
Well, I guess you'd have to ask them that question. But look, I was pleased to hear they at least provided you with a statement, because that's more than they've provided to us as honourable members. And it's more than they've provided to the Tasmanian community, because here we are 36 hours on from their last minute decision to pull it from the notice paper, still without an explanation, one, as to why they pulled it, and two, as to when they will bring it back, if they will in fact bring it back. I mean, people are saying maybe May when we return on the 19th of May, but that's budget week. It's not certain, and they haven't confirmed that they will bring it back. I mean, if they weren't able to answer all and any questions on this bill, Why did they bring it on? You know, they've had 9 months. If their policy is really based on evidence and proof and facts, then they should be able to answer all questions that members have, and it's just not good enough.
Well, Beck, if you want to get anything out of the Rockcliffe government, just give me a bell and I'll give them a bell, and I'll see what I can do for you. You say there that I've received more than you have. I mean, what have your interactions with the government been like on this bill to ban greyhound racing? As I say, since December they've had 4 months to come and talk to you and try and convince you and other crossbenchers of their argument for why it should be banned. Have they actually done that?
Oh, look, they've been talking to a range of members, and we have had 16 briefings on this bill. 16 briefings. There's been a committee inquiry. To say now that there's not enough information is just an absolute cop-out. Yes, members there were 4 members who gave their contributions on the bill on Wednesday night. Some of them posed questions. If it was really about more information, wouldn't the government at least have allowed all members to give their second reading contributions so that it knew what all of the questions were to go away and get answers to? And as I say, you know, if it can't answer the questions now, after it's had 9 months to form this policy and have all the evidence to present, then will it ever be able to? Probably not. It's not about providing extra information and answering questions. It's simply about politics. It's not about animal welfare at all. It's about staying in power, and that is not a reason why we should be making decisions on behalf of Tasmanians.
Well, good luck is all I can say. I hope the right outcome is achieved after all of this. It's just a shame that we'll have to wait at least another month to see it. Beck Thomas, more strength to your arm.